Allie Tomlin never had a real job before. At 17, she decided she wanted to find out what the world of work was all about.
Bye, see you later. Bye, see you tomorrow. Good luck with your
She was talking to a friend at school who happened to work at Jamba Juice, a national chain of stores that sells juices and smoothies.
I was like, yeah, I really think I'm going to start getting a job. I kind of want my own money now. He mentioned I'm a team lead at Jamba Juice, and right now I know we're hiring. I was like, oh, awesome.
She got the job at this Jamba Juice in the town of Puyallup, just outside of Seattle, Washington.
It was a very busy, very kind of hectic environment, so I was like, oh, fast-paced, my kind of thing.
You thought working at Jamba Juice was going to be fun.
Yeah, a fun first job.
But it wasn't all fun. At first, her manager made her feel a little uncomfortable, but that would lead to something worse.
He gave me what I call the woolies. Like, I watched the way he interacted with the other team members, like, very close. And when he talked to you, he needed to be here. He needed to set his hand on your shoulder. And I was like, that's weird. So I just did my best to kind of stay away from him.
So at what point did it go from a manager giving you the willies to a manager who was then trying to harass you?
It was a series of steps. I felt the first step was when he started making inappropriate comments, like little joking comments, and like putting his arm around you and things like that. And then he would make comments about like your boob size, and like he was like, oh, Allie, yeah, grab my arm. Come on, I'm gonna take you in the back and bend you over. I'll show you what's going on. So it was like when his comments got a little vulgar, but then when he started to like physically touch me, like he physically reached out, grabbed my arm, and pulled me with all his weight. Then I was like, wow, no, that's not okay.
Allie's manager was 32 years old, almost twice her age. She says he made jokes about her bra size and her weight, talked about masturbation, and showed Allie a photo of his wife in a thong. But Allie says no one else at the store seemed to think that the manager was doing anything inappropriate.
But it was always like we were reassured. That's just his behavior. That's just how he acts. It was just a joke. I was like, I don't think that's the way things are supposed to go, but I'm not, I didn't know enough about the way it works, so I was like, okay.
So did you come home and tell your mom?
No, because I knew that if I came home and I told my mom and my dad right away that they would make me quit. And it was like my first job and I really liked it. And I was kind of like, in my head, I was like, if I stay away from him and keep my distance, then everything's okay.
Allie Tomlin's story is not an isolated case. Every year, millions of teenagers get jobs in stores, restaurants, movie theaters. They're often part-time workers, the lowest paid with the least amount of work experience. And all of those factors makes them more vulnerable to sexual harassment on the job.
They're completely disposable. They can be replaced tomorrow, especially in a climate like ours right now. There's 10 kids to take the job if they leave. They have no power whatsoever.
E.J. Graff is a senior researcher with the Schuster Institute for Investigative Journalism at Brandeis University. After hearing about some of these cases, she began her own investigation to find out just how prevalent teen harassment is. Are we talking about dozens, maybe hundreds?
Hundreds of thousands of teens who are being assaulted, just sexually assaulted on the job.
Based on studies of the workplace, Graff estimates that about 400,000 teenagers are being sexually harassed at work every year. And Allie Tomlin is just one of those thousands of cases. Allie had been working at Jamba Juice for 5 months, doing the best she could to avoid her manager. But one day, she couldn't get away. Allie says she was in the back of the store counting money for the cash register.
And he walked up behind me, really close. I would say maybe 5-6 inches away from me, and just stood really close and then kind of leaned over my shoulder, and he was like, hey, Allie, want to see something funny? You wear teen t-shirts there. It's like a t-shirt with an apron. Apparently there was a little hole about the size of a dime in the back of the t-shirt, and he stuck his hands in it and completely ripped the shirt off me. And when I spun around, the shirt was completely torn and was hanging out of my jeans.
Allie says it looked like she had nothing on but her apron, and she stood there in shock. Her manager then took out his cell phone and took a picture of her.
Everybody was laughing and I just kind of stood there and I got really quiet and really withdrawn and I was like fighting back tears and I was like, I just want to go home.
Allie decided she had had enough and put in her 2 weeks' notice. She finally told her parents what was going on at work.
When she told you about the harassment, the touching by her supervisor, what were you thinking at that point?
I was pissed, to be blunt. You know, a mom wants to protect their kids from things like that. So, really upset.
The assistant manager found out about what happened and asked Allie to come back to work. She told Allie that the manager's behavior violated their sexual harassment policy and he would get fired.
I was like, oh my God, ideal situation. If he goes, then I'll definitely stay, but I'm not working with him.
And?
He didn't go. I went.